So the admins have finally released Master Mode for Floor 7 of the Catacombs, as well as some pretty radical changes to the original Floor 7. Instead of Necron fighting your entire team alone, now all 4 of the Witherlords take turns bullying your entire party. In addition to the already existing 4-phase boss fight, Master Mode Floor 7 now features a 5th phase with dragons and a giant pentagram in the ground. Sounds wonderful, right? Anyways, Floor 7 is now dedicated each phase to one of the Witherlords. Maxwell takes phase 1 with the crystals, Storm resides in phase 2 with the pillars, Goldor in phase 3 with the terminals, and finally, Necron in phase 4 in the factory core. Some other significant changes have also been made to each of the phases, so I'll explain them in detail now. But first, I must fulfill my contractual obligations of being a YouTuber and tell you guys to change this red button and make it grey, and make this grey button blue. And, you know, maybe even put a bunch of text down here if you're feeling kinda funky. In phase 1, Maxwell is slightly faster than old Necron and occasionally drops TNT behind him. Every now and then, he will stop and unleash a Wither Skull barrage on players. This deals a lot of knockback, which will make it very annoying for any players trying to collect the energy crystals. Speaking of the crystals, you now have to collect 2 sets of them, so you'll have to collect and place the crystals, lure Maxwell into the laser, and then collect and place the crystals again. Keep in mind that when the laser turns red, it deals a large amount of damage to any players that walk through it, so be careful when luring Maxwell to the conveyor belt. Maxwell will then die to the laser, and the trapdoor will open up, revealing phase 2. Out of all the phases in Floor 7, phase 2 is probably the one that has undergone the most amount of change. First off, all pillars are now slightly levitated off of the ground at the beginning. Also, you can no longer upcrush, so if you're soloing, you'll have to lure Storm under the pillar shortly after it moves down. At the start, Storm will begin to fly around out of reach with invulnerability, striking players with lightning and fireballs. Use this time to kill as many Wither Miners and Archers as you can. Eventually, a countdown will appear on your screen. When it hits 0, all players will be basically one-shotted by his lightning attack. However, there are several ways you can avoid imminent death. You can use a Wither Cloak sword, a Bonzo mask, or simply hide under one of the pillars. Please keep in mind that broken pillars will not protect you. After this, Storm will fly to the ground and chase one of the players. Then you can crush him with the pillars. You must crush Storm with at least 2 pillars before Storm dies. If successful, the red pillar will collapse and you can move on to phase 3. In phase 3, stonking through the gates is no longer an option, so terminal callouts are useless now. 2 new terminals have been added, one where you match all the colours, and one that is basically Melody from the park, so good luck if you have over 300 ping. Occasionally, Goldor will throw his giant swords at you, which deal little damage but a lot of knockback. This may not seem that bad, but try to do Simon Says after they actually fixed it so you can no longer cheese it. For some reason, the only way to guarantee anti-KB from Goldor's swords, or even the entire dungeon, is to wear the slime hat. The tank passive defensive stance does work, but if you swap your helmet, it breaks and you begin to take knockback again. Putting a dwarf turtle helmet on your pet doesn't even work either. The TNT above the terminals will also activate every now and then, so be careful. You can still slow down Goldor by attacking him, but immediately after a terminal area has been cleared, Goldor will zoom to the next one, basically one-shotting you in his frenzy, so move quickly. After all 4 terminal areas have been completed, the core will open up and Goldor will become vulnerable. You must kill him before he reaches the end of the corridor, otherwise his frenzy will wipe out your entire team. Once you manage to do so, you'll be transported to phase 4. Phase 4 is somewhat the same except for a few minor changes. Necron will try to beam the platform beneath you as you drop down, so make sure you bring a Wither Cloak sword. He will then aggro a player until enough damage is dealt to force him to the center. There, he'll unleash his frenzy that will last for a few seconds and then will become vulnerable. You'd think that players would try to avoid the frenzy, but the amount of players I've seen die to it is astounding. He will then destroy one of the platforms and then do one of a few attacks. A Wither Barrage, similar to Maxwell, shoot lightning and fireballs at you, like Storm, throw giant swords at you, pretty much the same as Goldor, or straight up turn into a tier 4 Void Gloom boss. After this, he'll retreat back to the center, unleashing another frenzy, where hopefully your team can finish him off. If you're playing in Master Mode, then the center of the map will open up and you'll have to jump down. Awaiting you is a giant pentagram in the floor and many Skeletors. You'll first need to collect the crystals from each pillar and place them in the cauldrons next to the giant throne. Be careful, as when you grab a crystal, the surrounding Skeletors will awaken and try to kill you. When all crystals are collected, the Wither King will appear and begin to spawn dragons with 900 million health. Whatever you do, do not go anywhere near the king, as you will instantly die. He can also try to pull you in, so be careful. The goal here is to kill the dragons when they go to their corresponding pillars, so when the red dragon flies to the red pillar, kill it. Do this for all the dragons and you'll get the good ending for M7. Fail to kill the dragons at their pillars and you'll be pulled above the pentagram, forced to watch it set fire and have a giant red hand pull you into a floor. This is the bad ending of M7, but keep in mind that both endings will still give you the bedrock chest in the rewards room. However, the bad ending does not give S+. In fact, it lowers your score all the way to B, so you'll get significantly less Catacombs experience. Speaking of rewards, some new dungeon drops can be obtained from Floor 7. You can now get music discs that play the 3 dungeon songs, Superior Judgment from Floor 1, Dungeon Drama from Floors 2 to 6, and Witherlords from Floor 7. These are overall cosmetic, but are pretty cool to have, especially with a dungeon theme island like mine. In Master Mode, they've added the Dark Claymore, which is essentially a better giant sword with 5 blocks of reach. You can also get shiny variants of loot, for example, the shiny Necron's handle, which can be crafted into a shiny Necron's blade. Shiny items also have a neat particle effect, so you can easily differentiate between shiny and regular. The only problem? They're at least 10 times rarer than their original counterparts, and since very few have been obtained, the prices are fluctuating a lot, upwards of 1.5 billion coins. Hopefully in the near future, we will start to see the prices stabilize sometime soon. Overall, I find the new Floor 7 much more engaging than the previous one, even though I don't like how it takes longer and is harder to solo, not to mention the existence of Floor 7 Party Finder teams. Maybe sometime soon I can actually drop a Necron's handle and be able to grind it for real, or even solo it myself. Please Necron, I wish to wield the Astraea. Anyways, that's about it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a good day.